Welcome or welcome back to Speckles and Wool. If you're new here, my name is Kyla, and today I want to talk about my fall crochet plans. I know it's only August. I know it's still 80, 90, 100 degrees, but the thing about me is that fall is my favorite season, and I love to start it early and end it late. And so I just have to get back to those types of projects. I will say, shameless plug for myself, I really enjoyed making this lovely summer tank top. I made a couple summer tops during the summer, but my heart just really isn't in it the same way that it loves doing colder weather projects like cardigans and sweaters, things like that. I love the materials. I love the wool, the alpaca, the cashmere. They're just so luxurious. They're also expensive, but they're brilliant to work with. And not that this cotton wasn't expensive, but it doesn't feel the same. It makes my heart really happy to be working with the wool and the alpaca and all those really lovely fibers. So anyways, yesterday while I was in town, I decided to go visit a new to me local yarn store, and I was super duper impressed. I have to just talk about them for 30 seconds because it was amazing. If you're ever in the Omaha, Nebraska area and you would love to do some like yarn tourism, you simply have to go to Warmth Wool. Their parking was amazing. I am not a parallel parker. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. And they had this brilliant little parking lot. They had this beautiful store, and it had a whole range of materials. Now it's called Warmth Wool, so you're not gonna find like acrylic in there, but they did have some cotton options. They did have some linen options. Most of the options were wool or alpaca with maybe a cashmere blend, but they had a really amazing price range too. Like I'm talking yarn that was under $10 all the way to maybe like a more $30 price point, but it was a really amazing range of prices, which had me super excited because I've spent an ungodly amount of money on yarn before. And so just to have those like cheaper options was incredible. I was like, okay, here we go. So anyways, now that I've talked about it, I want to show you what I bought. Let me get the bag. Obviously, you can tell that my shopping trip was super successful. It is very big. It's filled with quite a bit in here. And I want to show off all of the yarn that I got and talk about the projects that'll go with each one. Now, I will say, I don't bookmark projects and then buy yarn for them. I kind of buy yarn with the idea of making like a top or a cardigan or a short sleeve cardigan or something like that. So I have options that I'm gonna put off to the side to show you what I'm thinking about, because I do have several patterns for each of these yarns that I want to decide on. I haven't decided yet, so I need to go through that process. Let me grab the first yarn. Okay, so I will say I did actually go into the yarn store for this product. Not for this product specifically, but for generally a brown yarn. I've been super in love with the idea of a brown cardigan. Brown just goes with everything in my wardrobe. I found out that black just feels a little too stark on me sometimes, but brown goes with all the pink in my wardrobe. It goes with the green, the yellow, even oranges is like a very fall look. And so I would love to make like a chunkier, more oversized cardigan in this color. Finding a shade of brown is extremely tricky, which is why I knew I had to go in person to do this. This yarn is so beautiful. It's a really deep brown, but it also has like hints of red in it. The yarn itself has a lot of like variation. And so the color and the tone of the fabric will just be so incredible. Oh my God, I love it. I got 6 skeins of this and I got 270 yards. Now I do have quite a few patterns like off the top of my head that I want to use or I'm thinking about using for this yarn. The first one is the Eternal Seasons Cardigan by Juuulmakes. I do already own this pattern. I have already made this cardigan before with a beautiful yarn from Ruby and Rose, and I love that cardigan. I've worn it like once or twice, but that's because it's a very niche color. It's very variegated. It's purple, red, pink, very specific, I think, to like Valentine's Day, but this would be stunning and it'd be very versatile. So that's one of the ideas. I also love the look of the December cardigan by Juuulmakes. Can you tell I'm a Juuulmakes fan? I just love that it's all made to measure, which is really who I am as a person. I don't gauge swatch, and so that's great for me. I love the December cardigan, and then I do have a couple other options that I'll probably put off to the side. I think the Gemma cardigan is one of them, and then I do have, this actually the person who made this tank top, the creator who made this tank top, actually published like a matching cardigan, and I think it'd be so cute to have one in brown. Would it be repetitive to make like the same thing in a cardigan? Yes, but I think it looks so cute. I'm really leaning towards that. And so I'll just put the options up here. If you have any opinions, please share them because I need help. There's a lot of options for this. 6 of these, 270 yards. By the way, it's also called Petit Lambswool. It's just stunning. I'm so sorry if you can hear my neighbor mowing. They just started mowing in the middle of my filming. Like, how dare they not know? And so if the sheer force of my voice doesn't drown that out, just know that they are doing some yard work right next to me. But anyways, the next skein that I pulled out of the bag, you're going to not be shocked by the color. I definitely lean towards certain colors. I think everybody does, to be fair. So here's my next yarn. It definitely almost matches the tank top I just made and I'm wearing, but I think it's just so beautiful. Once again, the yarn has a lot of variation amongst the strands. It has purple and like a pink and almost an orangey color. And so I think it's going to create a very layered piece of fabric, which I'm very excited for. Now this one does not have yards on it, which kind of messed my American brain up, not gonna lie. It is 450 meters per skein. I did get 4 of these. And it is, I believe, 100% wool. Most of these yarns are, I think all of the yarns I got are 100% wool. It's more of a rustic feel than the last one, I will admit, but it is just absolutely stunning. And it's definitely a very thin strand. I love to buy very thin yarn, leaning towards like fingering is definitely my favorite. So I got 4 of these. Now for this yarn specifically, I can't remember the names of any of the patterns that I want, but I want a very feminine silhouette, something very romantic, very beautiful. Anytime I use pink yarn, you can just tell that I really love it to be like feminine and girly. And that's what I want with all of these cardigans. It's going to be, the rest of the year is just going to be focused on cardigans, 100%, because I love them so much. And so the cardigans that I picked out are all very feminine and girly and just sweet. And that's what I want. It's just something that's really precious to wear. And that's basically it. That's my parameter. Precious to wear, adorable, feminine. That's it. Okay, these next 2 skeins might be a little bit of a curveball, but I really want to start kind of experimenting with my yarn choices and colors. I feel like I just pick a yarn and I use it for the entire project, which there's nothing wrong with. There's nothing wrong with using like one solid color or one variegated yarn, but I would love to start experimenting with colors, with using a solid with a variegated. I would just like to start branching out and doing something a little more creative. And so when I saw these 2 yarns together, they actually weren't together. I was carrying one around and just checking other color combinations. I really fell in love, and it's kind of a wild card for me, but let me show you. So I got 4 skeins of this camper yarn from Kelborn Woolens. And then I got 4 skeins of this one. This one's in the color Sunflower, and this one is an Ocean. And I think they are just such a random, but also beautiful, very saturated color combination. And for these specifically, I would love to do some kind of striped raglan. I don't have a pattern selected for these yet. All I'm running off is just inspiration from Pinterest. But I think these would make a very beautiful, just striped raglan cardigan. And I really have nothing else to say about them. Beyond beyond this fact, they were very affordable. I am very used to Colorado prices, and these skeins were $9.50 a piece. For 200 yards of 100% wool! I love Nebraska. It's amazing. So anyways, these are going to be in a striped raglan. Now I also have some yarn that I pulled out of my stash, it was not from the shopping trip, that I would like to use up during this fall season as well. Now I think my only option is like a tie front or a pullover vest. Obviously I could make a scarf, obviously I could make a hat, but I feel like I have enough of those items and I would really like to try and stretch this into some kind of vest situation. I have 5 skeins of this Spin Cycle Plump that I got while I was in Bellingham, Washington, and it's just much chunkier than I'm used to working with. I did get this 2 years ago, so I feel like my preferences have changed a little bit since then, and it only has 100 yards per skein, and I only have 5 skeins, 500 yards. So I feel like whatever I do, I'm gonna be playing some yarn chicken, but I feel like it's totally worth it because these skeins are so beautiful. I picked up 2 of them because there's a lot of color variation between the 2 skeins, between the 5 skeins really. This one has much more like brown neutral colors, and then this one obviously has a lot of yellow and green. So it's gonna be pretty no matter what I do, but I'm thinking some kind of chunky or tie front vest. If you have any ideas or patterns that you've done that have really been amazing and incredible to wear, please let me know. I'd love to see them. I think that's it for today's video. If you saw a pattern in here that you have made before, please let me know the good, the bad, the ugly, if you would recommend the pattern or not, because I will take a couple days to just let it sit before I get started to make a decision. And I would just love to know your guys' experience with them. I'm also easily persuaded. I succumb easily to peer pressure. So if you have any choices that you prefer that you think would look better or not look as good based on your experience with the pattern or just visually, please let me know. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Have a great weekend.